While urinating, a man noticed something strange. A stone in the distance was sparkling. Curious, he walked over to take a closer look. After brushing the sand off, he realized it might be a piece of gold. He glanced at his companion, hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided to call him over. The companion examined it repeatedly, but he wasn't sure if it was real. To verify, he took out his family heirloom lighter, knowing that if the gold turned black after being heated, it was fake. However, after a while, the gold showed no change at all. This meant it was pure gold, nothing less. The two men were overwhelmed by the surprise. Immediately, they began swinging their shovels, trying to dig out the entire nugget. However, after digging for most of the day, they still hadn't reached the bottom. It was practically a small mountain of gold. They tried to pry it out by hand, but the gold didn't budge. Next, they tied a rope around the gold and fastened it to their pickup truck. The companion floored the gas, but the rope snapped under the strain. Unwilling to give up, the two tried again. But they still couldn't move this little mountain of gold. Helpless, the two had no choice but to keep digging. As night fell, they gathered firewood for a large campfire to fend off wild dogs in the wilderness. The two celebrated by the fire, fantasizing about the revenge and riches they would have once they owned the gold. After the excitement faded, their priority was to get the gold out. One suggested finding an excavator, while the other stayed to guard it. He said a town lay 2 days east, and it would take another day to find the machine. The return trip would take 2 days, meaning it would take 5 days altogether to get back. During this time, the person guarding the gold would have to face extreme desert weather, watch for wild dogs in the wilderness, and carefully conserve water and food. The companion claimed his experience made him better suited to stay, but the man didn't hesitate. He decided to stay and guard the gold himself. After all, he was the one who discovered it, so why would he leave? Seeing his determination, the companion had no choice but to give in. Early the next morning, the two began dividing the supplies. The companion took more than half the water, claiming it was needed to cool the engine. Before leaving, he tossed the man a satellite phone, saying this would be their way to stay in touch during the trip. After saying this, he drove off, leaving the man behind. Once his companion was gone, the man first covered the surface of the gold with sand, then used canvas to make a simple sunshade. The next day, while gathering firewood, the man unexpectedly discovered the wreckage of an airplane. He went over to examine it and realized it was a perfect campsite. He rested inside for a while, but still felt uneasy because he couldn't see the gold from there. For his own peace of mind, he decided to dismantle parts of the plane. He then dragged the parts back to the gold and used the wreckage to make a small tent. After finishing this, the man looked at the mountain of gold and, feeling satisfied, fell asleep. However, the glaring sunlight made it hard to rest, and blisters formed on his forehead from the sun. Enduring pain and hunger, the man forced himself to go over to the gold. Staring at the mountain before him, he could no longer hold back and used his strength to break off a chunk. Just as he was considering quitting, his companion called him on the phone.
Hey, that's a...
Bad news in my freight. At the weigh station, Tang is over here. It is actually a fairly decent and impressive size for something like this, especially when you consider the overall proportions. Chuck, don't even think about it. Ever had something like this just land in your lap before?
No.
Okay.
At night, because packs of wild dogs were running rampant nearby, he couldn't sleep at all and had to keep driving them away with a torch all night. Thinking it over, she felt that this tent still wasn't sturdy enough, so the next day she returned to the wrecked plane to get debris to reinforce it. But just then, a woman appeared nearby. To keep the gold's whereabouts a secret, Becky knew she had to hide immediately, but it seemed the woman had already spotted her and came straight over to knock on the window. Seeing this, Becky quickly pretended to be looking for something. The woman, noticing how nervous Becky was, as if afraid of others, felt puzzled. In order not to reveal the gold, Becky told her that she was just trapped here and waiting for a friend to rescue her. The woman replied that there was a shelter and a waterhole just 5 kilometers ahead. Why do you insist on staying here? Seeing the other person's evasive gaze, she became even more convinced that this guy must be hiding something. She immediately strode toward his camp. The man saw this and quickly stepped forward to stop her. But how could the woman be so easily fooled? After he left, she followed closely behind, persistently questioning whether he was hiding something. The man couldn't take it anymore and stepped forward, loudly shouting at her to leave immediately, or else he would use force. But the woman wasn't intimidated at all, and insisted on taking a look around his camp. The man, already exhausted from a long period without water, was too weak to keep up. He could only watch helplessly as she arrived at his tent, glancing around as she spoke. To stop the woman from finding the gold, the man grabbed a nearby wooden stick and struck her on the head. But when he saw her bleeding and dying right there, he became frightened. He hadn't even gotten the gold yet, and now he was a murderer. However, after calming down, he picked a spot to bury her and managed to find some water and food. Yet he didn't expect that only minutes after burying the body, a pack of wild dogs, attracted by the scent of blood, tracked her down. Feeling guilty, the man picked up a shovel and rushed over. No matter what, he at least wanted to protect her body. After driving away the pack of wild dogs, he cremated the woman so that her soul could rest in peace. Afterward, the man dug up the gold again, unsure if he could keep going. At noon the next next day, his companion finally called. He answered the call, almost in tears. He expected good news, but was told to wait a few more days. Hearing this, the man could no longer control his emotions. He regretted not letting his companion guard the gold earlier. Just then, a truck appeared in his line of sight. He quickly hung up and hid. Fortunately, the truck was just passing by without noticing, but the real nightmare was just beginning. As the man prepared tea for the evening, a destructive sandstorm raged toward him, scaring him so much that he scrambled back into his tent. It was only after the sandstorm had passed that the man slowly regained consciousness. A sharp tree branch had pierced his abdomen. Enduring the intense pain, he crawled out. Brushing away the sand, he finally saw the golden mountain and relaxed. Once he gained some strength, he pulled out the branch. To stop the bleeding, he pressed a piece of red aluminum against it to cauterize the wound. The bleeding finally stopped, but due to exhaustion, he collapsed to the ground. In a daze, the man saw the woman he had burned to death, holding a walkie-talkie and facing him. Gradually, the man began to hallucinate. He saw the dead woman transform into a vengeful spirit, coming to claim his life. Even worse, a bird pecked at the wound on the man's body. But at this point, the man couldn't care about any of that. The only thing on his mind was the golden mountain. He slowly tried to crawl toward the gold. Just then, his partner called again, saying he would arrive soon and telling the man to guard the gold well. The man looked around but didn't see any sign of the woman's ghost. Just as he was about to reach the golden mountain, the woman appeared again and asked if he needed help.
The nearby waterhole. I can walk out to it. Are you absolutely certain that you did not happen to see any woman in this area while you were here?
The woman standing before him was the twin sister of the woman from yesterday. He'd already buried her sister, whose head had been taken by the dog. With no news, the helpless woman finally left. Relieved, the man fainted. Waking up, he found bonfires all around him. Clearly, she'd lit them before leaving to fend off the hunting dogs. Realizing this, the man immediately called his colleague.
Yeah, tell me. Where exactly are you right now?
How close?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Hit them went out of here?
Get the kidder up! Get the Wakio out of here!
Thank you.